I'm WG, you've made it to level 50, and now what? All of a sudden, you've, first off, congratulations, unlocked everything that this game has to offer in terms of game modes. There's no need to rush anymore to any XP thresholds. You can play and have access to every one of this game's features. That also means that instead of having to spend your experience chasing and chasing, you can now finally invest them where you want, trying to make the most progress possible or build the characters or whatever you desire. First, let's talk about this growth guide. Yes, it could be a bit annoying for you to have this growth guide lying around here and it always showing you, oh, you need to upgrade these characters, but please treat this as something that you're going to do over the coming months. And the reason being is that this quest alone right here, if you were to bring up 6 combatants to level 55, is going to run you around 800,000 per combatant. So this is a, what is that? Like a casual 4.8 million, and here it would be like 500 or 600,000, and honestly it is not worth it. So this quest, it's something you're going to complete eventually anyway, but it's not a chase, and Growth Guide 10 is also the last part of the Growth Guide series. So let's quickly talk about units and units. So units obviously refer to our units that we're using, but they also refer to the currency that we're using to upgrade our units. Isn't that fun? So what you can see right here is our account. We are on 14 level 50, so we have a great amount of variety. We're getting to the point where we have almost every character built, but that is has been, supported by stamina refreshes, by farming a lot of the unit dungeon, by getting pretty much every avenue of character experience. And if you go this broad, you are going to run into issues. And if you are okay with that, if you're okay with being broke 100% of the time, if you're okay with having to farm unit dungeons or XP dungeons, then hey, go at it. It is certainly possible. But if you want to play comfortably, if you want to upgrade the characters that you have, if you want to be efficient with your resources, then this is very, very important. The amount of level 60 characters you make. And the reason why level 60 is so important is not only do you get your final upgrade to your character's base stats, meaning that is everything that all these memory fragment percentage bonuses and the like are buffing, you are also getting access to a character's strongest potential, and that is the unique stat upgrade. Once again, I do not recommend upgrading the basic card upgrade. It costs pretty much the same resources as the unique card upgrade, and it is way less impactful unless maybe on a main lane. So the unique stat potential is then something you can chase, and on which characters you chase, that is pretty much your main DPSs. And that is because they benefit the most. They benefit the most from the basic attack increase, they benefit the most from the unique stat upgrade, and they benefit the most from also the ability to further upgrade the character's base crit chance. So that is also what we've done here. Yuki and Rin have both been uplifted and upgraded in their potential, whereas everybody else hasn't yet. And also characters like Nia, Cassius, Ray, Mika, probably even Orlea are units that don't even want to go to level 60 for the moment, and that is because the gain there would be so minor. Like the only argument you might be able to make is, oh, okay, they could heal more, but overall it is not that important. You can pretty much clear every content in the game available currently without having to go to level 60 on your supports. They are just less impactful. And that is not only due to Forsters in general having slightly less impactful unique stat upgrades, but supports having even less important ones in that manner, due to them mainly just being focused on the defense substat, maybe some ego recovery here and there, maybe an attack threshold, but it's something that is absolutely reachable even on the level 50. So you can see our Mika, our Nia, Cassius, Ray all chilling on 50. And for example, if I were to target another 60 instead of a support, it would be, for example, Luke. Now, that also explains what you should be looking out for in, yeah, boosting your characters. There's a lot of questions in regards to, okay, I'm now level 50, now what do I do? Let's include the seasonal content right here, and that is obviously if you're level 50, you unlock the higher difficulties of the seasonal content. So trying to push this to difficulty 8 and then seeing if you can get in a run or two successfully here to start building seasonal save data should obviously be at the top of your interest list. Important to note here also, if you clear difficulty, I think from difficulty 7 you have a chance, whereas if you clear difficulty 8 it's guaranteed every time you beat a boss, so interior or exterior. You also get 3 legendary right side pieces, the memory fragments, the same way you would be able to do that if you were to play the Zero system. So Zero system and Seasonal Chaos both have the ability to provide you with these 3 legendary pieces past a certain point. And that is also where the whole memory fragment farming comes in. And you really want to start working on your characters, you want to start perfecting your builds to a degree. Like, for example, for me I'm still at the point where for almost all characters in the game, I can just slap on a good attack percent and crit damage 2 set, substitute that thing with a decent goblet in the middle, and then for now I'm calling it a day. But I'm obviously working my way towards getting better crit damage pieces, crit damage set pieces, better attack set pieces, because they can pretty much be used on every character, but also working a bit more towards specific builds, like for example the 1 cost 35% crit damage, or even the Order 4 set. So now, for some of you, the question might just be, oh, but if I'm farming the Seasonal Chaos, if I'm farming the Zero system the whole time, how am I ever going to get right side gear? And the solution here just lies in you dismantling pieces that aren't up to your standard. So for example, like this, we can then go ahead and dismantle them, and then you have 2 choices. Either you have so many right side gear pieces that you don't even want to go for a random fusion, or you pretty much just random fuse it and see what you can get. So for example, we could here craft dedicated pieces, but in general, I do find it the most rewarding in terms of investment versus return to just, spin the wheel here to kind of see what we can get. Obviously, this one would be pretty fun on every character if it wasn't the attack set, but like a defense-based set, that actually could have been quite nice. And here we now indeed get something useful in attack with attack, and then obviously extra damage. And that's kind of how you make sure you get your right side pieces. But if not, right, especially if you don't have the time of day to get rid of all your stamina by playing the Chaos mode, then farming memory fragments is absolutely fine. So what you're going to notice is that you can now go past difficulty 6 all the way to difficulty 10. Just be aware that this is a big stamina investment. It's going to basically eat all your stamina for a day, due to you having to pay 60 stamina per difficulty and you only being able to challenge the next difficulty upon beating the first one. So my preferred farming spots in general are just the corpse and tools for the crit damage set, because the crit damage set works both on defense based and attack based characters. Then we also have the attack set on difficulty 10, and then just because I'm interested in getting some of these 1 cost pieces, I'm working my way towards the difficulty 10. And then potentially I'll be working on the Order dungeon, though I think the Order set is something I get myself through crafting. So that then brings us to potential. Potential is quite important, and mainly to be treated in the same way as you treat who you level up. Like, for example, if we take a look at my Rinse potential, you can see we've maxed out the crit chance, we got ourselves the unique potential, we are on 7 out of 10 for the unique cards, our Yuki actually is on 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5 unique potential, and then let's check out somebody else, like for example a unit I use a whole lot, and that is Ray. And you can see Ray is barely invested into. Sure, I could take the time to, for example, upgrade the basic card upgrades, because those are cheap, because those are easy to get, and those are at least decently impactful on supports. But overall, there's no need, no rush for you to invest into your supports, there really isn't as big of a noticeable difference between having and not having any of these potentials for your units. You would, for example, be better off just starting to put together some decent 2 pieces or 2 pieces, maybe even 2 sets, where, for example, here we would include the basic healing / shielding, and obviously making sure that you start to get your defense percentages, your health percentages, and health percentages. That's just the most, you just played the safest this way. I don't really think you should be gaming for like an elemental goblet for your supports as of this moment. And then obviously once you maybe get to level 60, you can start experimenting with like having a character being a DPS or a sub DPS. Obviously outside of a chaos run, everything is way more broad in what you can and can't go for, and what can work and what can't work. Whereas during a chaos, you rather want a bit more of safety, a bit more stability, and just like you could say the highest chance of actually clearing these runs. So yeah, this is kind of where your time ends up being split upon. And then obviously on the note of crafting, you also have the ability to craft dedicated pieces, so long as you have these these gemstones. And these are really just there for you to either make sure you get your right side stats in order with having the sets activated, or to just really, you could say, perfect these final pieces. So then obviously you have your weekly challenges, you want to push that as high as possible. And I guess something that's a bit more interesting is that most characters do want a certain amount of Wailing Prodigal Eyes as well as Fear Encountered. Like if you're building a lot of different characters, Fear Encountered is the best because you can push up the unique stats. But if you're focusing on just more than one character, or like one character in specific, then you really want to get the Eye of the Wailing Prodigal as well, so that you can push up that unique potential, that crit chance potential, so that you can further enhance your units. Now, as a last note, upgrading partners is something a bit more secondary to upgrading a character, and that is due to these stats. You can see, for example, this Westmocott would have 97 attack, whereas a upgraded Scarlet has 113. These aren't added to a character's base stats, but they are part of just this green number right here, so you could treat them as flat stats, which at least in this game still are very important due to our attack numbers and the like being in the low hundreds rather than the thousands. But it is not something of like a uber priority, so it's something you can work on if you further want to improve that one character you're currently really focused on at the moment. And I think this should be everything in like a more concise package of what you can expect from level 50 moving forward. Keep in mind, freedom is everything. You can build whatever you want, and you can try whatever funky team you want. And I guess as a last note, make sure you continue with your Arc City research. Just start upgrading everything that's not the hiding spots, because affinity isn't as important anymore, I guess. And I mean, on the note of affinity though, if you can, start pushing up that affinity for your main DPS, because you are getting, indeed, in this case, base attack for every one of these upgrades. So that is actually quite helpful. Peace!